Hey guys, this is Adeline here, and consider this a little live update in terms of the radio silence that I have here on LinkedIn, or just in general in terms of just really sharing what have I been up to. I think this is probably something that some of you guys that can relate, where after quitting your 9 to 5 with this newfound freedom, and you have built this successful business of yours, but you feel like something is still missing, and it is a very confusing stage because it feels like you've crossed everything off your success checklist. But why are you still feeling stuck or burnout, or something is still missing? And that was kind of the stage that I was in, probably back in June, after a really successful event in Singapore with one of the best clients I've had. So being in Bali has its plus side, where that gave me the space and also the tools, support, and people to reach out to explore what's going on here. Because I thought that building a business was what it is still what I wanted, but I thought that was like the destination and that was the end goal. And when I got there, it's like, well, now what? And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. So the last 6 months has really just been really diving deep into getting to know myself, about it really getting back to looking inwards. And this is why I am a huge advocate around how leadership starts with self-leadership. And self-leadership means taking 100% responsibility and ownership in your life. So that includes all that emotional baggage, all that thing that has been going on within us for such a long time that we are so used to blocking out. So that has been my journey, really in the last, probably the really deep work that I was doing was back in June and July. There were things and moments that came up back in October and at the start of the year, but I never really delved into it. And I think that is something that we are so used to do in today's world, where we start blocking out those inner voice that we had through distraction, creating noises, because honestly we might be resistant towards this because we are afraid to find out what is beyond the surface. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned is healing and just taking control and just leading yourself again. It's not about fixing yourself, it's not about trying to add something on top of you, but really it's all about accepting yourself, embracing everything that you are and that you are not. And most importantly, it's about shedding all those layers that you have put on over the years growing up, society conditioning, your cultural conditioning, and for me a big part of it is the corporate world conditioning of how I should do, all the employee mindset and all that stuff. So it is really about identifying all the blind spot and all the shadow side in my life of who I am, and really letting go of that. And that has been an interesting journey, and it has been nothing short of transformational. A lot of tears have been shed, and that is something that I want to highlight as well. I think we are all human beings, we all have feelings and we all have emotions, and I don't know, for whatever reasons we were told that showing our feelings is a sign of weakness, being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, but that is what makes us human, and that's what forms a wholesome connection with other people, not just your family, not just your friends, but also your tribe, your audience, your customers, your team, and everyone else. And that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, to allow myself to feel, to finally allow myself to get into all the emotions that I have tried to suppress over the years, because I thought I had to be strong. And that has been a long process, and on the other side of that is freedom, and just really being able to accept myself for who I am, and just embracing all the weirdness and all the quirkiness and the extraness of mine. I mean, look at this hair, it's like post braid, and this little thing that my parents do not even approve of, but that makes me feel me, and it's a way of how I express myself, how I express my energy. And this is the freedom on the other side, where you're just so comfortable with who you are and just owning exactly all the weirdness, everything that you are, and what makes you you. And one of the things I shared with my audience today on Instagram is that we are so used to accepting all the things that we were told from our parents, from society, from our social upbringing, we accept all the things, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, how we should do this, what success look like. But we have a hard time accepting ourselves for who we are. And the irony is that is truth, because the core of being is the ultimate truth, and we always knew. And that is the only part that we seem to have problem accepting. That seems to be the only part where we seem to reject, we judge, we can't seem to accept. And it is an interesting world that we live in. But yeah, so this is kind of an update of what has been happening in the past 4 to 6 months. And one thing that I've also learned, that this personal transformation, personal growth, personal development is a journey, and there's no destination. There are always things that needs to be healed, that comes up, that is going to pop up every now and then. But the difference is now, instead of pushing it away, instead of resisting it, feel into it, drop into it, even if it's painful, it's uncomfortable, and really approach it and deal with it with lots of love and compassion, because that is what the world needs. And I think that many of us don't seem to realize that we have to first heal our relationship with ourselves. We first have to change ourselves before we're able to heal the world, change the world, and make the impact that we want to make. And I know all of us deep down, we have a purpose. We have this urge to want to do good. It could be, life. It could be things that happen when we're growing up, things that happen when we were grown up, after we've grown up, that has kind of suppressed and pushed that compassionate side of us. And that doesn't make us a bad person. It's just that we just have to deal with all these problems, accept, embrace all the mistakes, all the scars, all the pain that we have with love and passion, and go from there. So this is what's been happening in the past 6 months. It has been painful, it has been eye-opening, it has been I can't explain it with words. I've actually shared my experience in 2 of my podcast episodes, which I'll also link there. But basically, now I am on the other side, and one of the mission that I really want to do, one of my mission is to really build conscious leaders who are authentic, leaders who are fulfilled and aligned with their values, leaders that are selfless and lead with love, and leaders that knows how to express themselves. Because one of the things we know, communication, expression is 2 different things, and that's another topic on its own. But basically, conscious leader starts with leading yourself, and it all starts with self-acceptance. And one of the calling and the purpose that I want to do is to really help female leaders, female entrepreneurs step straight into their power. I think that as women growing up, or just women in general, we have been told throughout our lives we should do this, we shouldn't do that, what we should do, how we should do. But we know what we should do, and we should embrace the loving and nurturing side of us, owning up to who we are, and be the leader that we're meant to be. We're not competing with our male counterparts. We are just stepping into our role. We're just going to be true to what we need to do, and that's all we need to do. We don't have to worry about anything else. It's not for us to worry about. So I'm here on a mission to just really, really take the leadership to a new way of leading, and it's all about being conscious, being intentional, and leading with love from the inside out. So yeah, happy to be on this journey with all of you guys. And if you have any questions, any feedback, or if you're kind of going through that stage of building, you have a successful business, you have success, but you have this empty feeling, or worse still, you don't feel anything, drop me a message in the comments below, or send me a DM in the message, and then we'll have a chat further, because healing myself is one of the greatest things that I can do, and it has changed relationship with my parents, relationship with others, and also I have been able to build true meaningful connections since then. So, and I want it for all of us. So yeah, 2020 is going to be a year of changes, impact, and more impacts. So let's do this, and baby, I'm back. So talk to you guys soon.